Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video, I'm going to review Season 2, Episode 5 of Smash called The Read-Through. This episode was interesting. I mean, it was not as good as last week's. I really loved it. I mean, so far this season, there hasn't been a bad episode. But there were some things that I didn't like. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode. This episode actually has two things, though, for me. It has the best performance of the season and the worst performance of the show so far. And we'll get to that, but let's start off with the main plot, which actually was about Bombshell. For most of the season, it's been about the Kyle, Jimmy, and Karen stuff. But they had a lot of that, but that was more off to the side. It wasn't necessarily off to the side, but they had a lot more with Bombshell in this episode. Basically, the main plot was Jerry, basically, with everyone adjusting to Jerry as the new director. They don't know really what to think of him. And Tom, basically, they get the theater for the show, and Tom shows it to Derek. And we saw what I think is the best performance Smash has ever done, public relations. I love this song. If you guys remember, I did my video of Bombshell, the review of the album, and that's still my favorite off of it. I loved it. I absolutely love that song, and I think they just did it perfectly. And I thought it was so funny how Tom was all the different characters, and I think Tom had a really great vision, but Derek said he doesn't like the idea. He said it's cheesy, and he doesn't really like it. In the meantime, Julia has now finished writing the script with Peter, but then what happens is they meet Jerry's assistant, Margot, played by Nikki Blonsky. Oh my god, I couldn't believe I was seeing Tracy Turnblad. I was like, oh my god, it's Tracy Turnblad from Hairspray. Because, I mean, that's the only thing she's been on, I think, that's really big. And I think she hasn't really had a big thing since then. I hope we get a song from her, because her character is really great. We saw one scene of her, but I really hope we see more of her character. I'm sorry, my hair is a little bit itchy today. I don't know what it is. I don't have dandruff. Don't worry. I don't have laser dandruff. But, basically, then what happens is they realize there is a second script of Bombshell, and they basically try to figure out who wrote it. And I thought this was really interesting, the huge twist. We find out, at first they think the dramaturg wrote it, and we basically find out that Tom sent the workshop to Jerry because he felt it's the better show than what Peter and Julia are trying to do. Now, really, I gotta say, at first I was like very disappointed in Tom, but I think he had a lot of balls to do that because Tom really, he's had some things to do this season, but I think this is one of his first big moves where he kind of changes how this show's gonna go now. I mean, the read-through, I forgot to talk about, the read-through goes great, and basically Jerry says to them, oh, no, this isn't gonna get you to Broadway. Oh, no. And he basically says he likes Tom's version. And Tom basically said how he wants it to be more about Marylin and less about the men. He wants it to focus on Marylin becoming a star, basically, and he liked that version better. But Julia and Derek and Peter think that their version is better. And so they all end up fighting, and they go to Eileen, of all people, because she, I say of all people because she's not running the show anymore, but they basically decide, okay, Eileen will decide who, I'm sorry, the phone is ringing, I'll ignore it. But basically Eileen decides that Eileen is the one that they decide to go to. And she ends up not making a decision. She says, I'm going to decide, cliffhanger. And I hate cliffhangers. I absolutely hate cliffhangers. It drives me nuts, and I hate it. Just, cliffhangers. But I really love this plot. I love the twist of what's going on with this second script, because Tom had a lot of balls to do that, I'm sure. And I don't think a lot of people expected it at all. I mean, I know things that I can't tell you guys about because I accidentally looked at the poster that's in New York right now. There's actually a picture in New York that says Bombshell, and then there's one that says Hit List, and one that says Liaisons. They're really trying to promote the show, and they have them online. It was leaked online, and I looked at it, so I can't tell you what I know, but they're definitely trying to set up Tom as director, definitely, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But I thought this was really interesting, and me personally, listening to the soundtrack, I think I like Tom's version better. You know, I really like to focus it more on Marylin and less on the men. I think it's a great idea, but it's not good for a musical if you want to do a musical about Marilyn Monroe. And so basically, they either have Bombshell or they're going to change it back to Marylin. Which name do you guys like better? Do you like Bombshell or do you like Marylin? Which script do you like better? Tom's envision of Bombshell or Julia and Peter and Derek's envision of Bombshell? What do you guys think? Are you on Team Tom or Team Derek right now? I want to know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because I'm really interested. Now let's get to the Kyle, Jimmy, Anna, and Karen stuff. I was so glad we saw a lot more of Anna in this episode. We hadn't seen a lot of Anna, and I really like that she wasn't just a side character, and also Kyle wasn't just a side character in this episode. I like that too. You know, they're trying to have less side characters, and I enjoy that because it's not like Glee where you have all these side characters who do absolutely nothing. They don't even talk throughout the whole episode. And that's what's starting to piss me off about Glee. They have all these great characters. Sugar, Joe. I mean, that's a completely different story, but Smash does not do that, and I'm glad they're not doing that. But basically, what happens is, well, I mean, you do have the background dancers, but we've heard lines from them. They actually speak. We know about them. Basically, what happens here is they are preparing to do they're going to perform at the Fringe next week, which is like a big Broadway festival for new shows, and Derek is going to be there and everything, and so they're trying to prepare for it. But in the meantime, Karen is starting to get feelings for Jimmy. Now, first, when she sees Jimmy, you can definitely see they have some public relations, as the song said. But then we saw that Jimmy had a one-night stand. Who the hell was that girl? Why didn't they touch on it? I don't understand why they didn't touch on that. I thought that was ridiculous. That they just had this girl come out of nowhere, not even speaking a line, and we didn't see her for the rest of the episode. What the hell was that about? I don't know. But, I mean, I love this plot, but that just annoyed me when they had this girl come out. I'm like, bitch, who the hell are you? Literally, that's what I was thinking in my mind. I'm like, who the hell is this bitch? Like, who is that? I thought Jimmy had a girlfriend, but he didn't. It's just a one-night stand, I think. But basically, Karen can't stop thinking about him, and she ends up singing Some Boys from Death Cab for Cutie. Now, I like when Smash does some pop performances, like Dancing on My Own worked really well, Breakaway worked really well, Beautiful worked really well, Call Me worked really well, Crazy Dreams worked really well. This was horrible. It was kind of disturbing to watch and kind of uncomfortable, because while Karen is singing this, Jimmy is changing his clothes, and it's kind of disturbing, and I felt like this really didn't have to be in the episode. She should have sang a different song, especially. I mean, this could have happened in a different sequence. I didn't even like the song very much. I felt like it should not have been in the episode, and I think that was the worst part of the episode when she sang that song. That's the only thing in the episode that drove me absolutely bonkers. I didn't like that at all. That she basically just sang that song, and she had a purpose for it, but I felt like it just could have been cut out of the episode. I mean, there were not many songs in this episode except for 2, but I think just having public relations in this episode would have been fine. I didn't really like Some Boys at all, and both of the songs were Karen's songs, so I mean, they could have just had one song with her, and then that's it, because Some Boys I didn't think was necessary. I liked it, but it wasn't necessary in this episode. But basically, then what happens is Karen brings over Bobby and Jessica and Sue and all of them. They watched the show, Hit List, and they said, and Bobby basically says the music is great, the story is great, but the dialogue is very corny. And I agree, because we see how it would have ended. It would have ended terribly. I'm like, that's Act 1 to your Broadway play? That's weird. And so, Anna basically had actually a really good idea. So this is how Anna doesn't become a side character. And also Kyle had a little outburst where he's like, no, 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 no. This show is happening. This is how we're going to do it. I'm going to keep it this way. And this is how we're going to do it. He really seemed like Derek in that scene. He was kind of really angry, kind of like, you know, this is that would be me. Kyle is slowly turning into my favorite character. If I had a show that I really stuck to and I was a director, that's what I would do. I would have been, this was my vision, this is how I'm leaving it. You can't tell me how to work. If you want to do this, go create your own show. I mean, really. But I do think Bobby had a good point where he said it's not ready for Broadway. It's not a Broadway show. And so basically Anna decides that if they want to make this show a hit, they have to change things. So Anna basically says how Rent was a book musical before it was on Broadway, but they changed it because it's all sung on Broadway versus the movie, which I absolutely love, but that's all the dialogue just talked through. But I absolutely love the movie. But I love the Broadway show too. Basically, they decide that they are now going to have Hit List as a opera, basically all sung through. So I think that'll be very interesting how they do that. I'm really looking forward to that because I think that could be really, really interesting, and I really think that could work well. And then comes the most heartbreaking moment of the episode, and the biggest twist of the episode. There are so many twists in this episode. In all three plots, there were twists. The twist in this was that Karen and Jimmy are talking. Jimmy says, you know, there are many girls, I don't like many people, but you, when I'm with you, it's different. And he basically says, friends, and she says, friends, and she's like frazzled. But then we see Jimmy and Kyle, and I hated this scene. I mean, it was a great plot twist, but really. And so Kyle's like, you really think she's dating Derek? And Jimmy thinks she's dating Derek. What? Derek and Karen have no chemistry at all. When I see Derek and Karen, I find it very creepy. I do. I find it creepy. I find it very stalkerish. Derek is one of my favorite characters on this show. So is Karen. But putting those two together would be terrible. Putting Jimmy and Karen together, though, I would really like. I think it could be really cute. So far, all we've seen of them, every scene they've had has been really cute. The one at the piano, the scene with them, you know, before Some Boys, I thought that was a cute scene. And everything really with them was really cute. So I really hope they push this relationship forward. And you can tell Jimmy has feelings for Karen, and Karen has feelings for Jimmy. So I'm thinking in the next episode they're going to get together. There's no doubt about it. They are going to get together probably in the next episode. So I really enjoyed this plot. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Hit List, though. And basically, now I want to get to the liaisons. You know, we had three plots. Bombshell, Hit List, and liaisons. I think that's how it's going to be for a while. And basically what's going on in liaisons is, so they welcomed Terry Falls, who was played by Sean Hayes, who, let me just say, I love Sean Hayes. I think he is great. Promises, promises, oh yeah, half as big as life. Okay, I'm not going to sing, but I think he's a great singer. He's a really great singer. So when I heard he was going to be on the show, when I heard all these Broadway people were going to be on the show, I was really excited. But for him especially, when I heard his character, I thought it would be really funny. And he is hilarious on this show. I think he's just so funny. His character's, again, his character's one of the more annoying ones, but he's so funny, and he's such a diva. It's just so funny to watch him. Basically, he thinks he wants to play the whole show like a comedy, and I basically said, this isn't a comedy, it's a drama, and he says, oh, I didn't realize it was a drama. And this is kind of stupid. You don't know it's a drama? What the hell is wrong with you? You think this stuff isn't supposed to be taken seriously? This is a professional actor? I don't know. I didn't like his character, but I thought Sean Hayes did a really great job, and he was really funny. I also loved, you know, then Ivy basically tries to think, she thinks everything's going well, and she tells Tom about it, and then Terry tries to turn the whole show, though, into a comedy, and he ends up succeeding because the director ends up saying they need it to be like this, and the funniest scene comes at the end. Ivy's basically like, So, do you really think it's a comedy? And he basically says, oh, well, you know, I finally realized what's wrong with me. I finally stopped taking my meds. And that was so funny because he's talking so fast. He's like, oh, I finally stopped taking my meds. I can be dramatic now. Oh my God, I gotta go. See you, bye. And he's at the elevator, and that was the funniest scene in the episode by far. I was laughing hysterically at that scene. I thought he was so freaking funny. It was so funny. Because, I mean, this guy is just, you can tell he's going to be hilarious on this show. They showed a clip of him actually on YouTube. He's going to be very self-centered, but I think he's going to be very funny. And he's such a diva, too, because anything he says goes, and I think he's going to be one of those type of characters that's going to create a lot for Ivy. But he's absolutely hysterical, and I just think he's so great on this show. So, points for Sean Hayes. Interesting character, but he's absolutely hilarious, and I just love that. So now let's get to the promo for next week's episode. Oh my God, I'm going to link it down below definitely. Basically, it looks like Karen's going to be torn between Hit List and Bombshell. I already know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to tell you because I read something. But I already know what's going to happen. And Derek is going to quit Bombshell because, as we hear, he is going to be fighting with Tom about who's the better creator for this show. And he basically says, the created version is my version. Well, that's my Derek impression. Not really good, but sorry. And he ends up quitting Bombshell, so that should be very interesting. And we also saw a clip on YouTube with Terry and Ivy, and he basically said how she can't be as funny as him, and I thought that was really funny too. I'll definitely link that down below as well. And when I put next to it, I'll say Ivy and Terry clip, hilarious. So overall, this episode was really good. I mean, it was not as good as last week, because last week had such amazing songs, and it went so well with the plot. It was probably the best episode Smash has ever done. This was also a good episode, but it's nowhere near as good as the song or the dramaturg. I really love this episode, though. Even though I really loved it, I just thought the song and the dramaturg were really great episodes. This was a great episode, too. But I really think there were some things that kind of annoyed me, like the whole thing with some boys that just really threw me off, I think, this episode. And I didn't think this episode needed another song. We could have just gone with public relations and then had the rest of the episode be the way it was, and I would have been fine with it. Then this episode would have been perfect. Some boys really ruined it for me. So now I have a few questions for you guys. Karen and Derek, or Karen and Jimmy? Karen and Jimmy for me, you guys know that. I think Karen and Derek is creepy. Because, I mean, it's stalkerish in my opinion. You guys might not agree, but I just think it's stalkerish. And, what do you think of this Terry guy? And, Jerry and Tom's vision of Bombshell? I mean, Jerry and Tom's vision of Marylin? Or Julia, Peter, and Derek's version of Bombshell? Which one do you like more? What do you think of this new character, Margot, played by Nikki Blonsky? How did you react when you saw Sean Hayes and Nikki Blonsky? What do you think of their characters? In the link down below, I will put in. What do you think of public relations? I'm really interested to see. Because I love that song. I thought it played out so well in the episode, and I absolutely loved it. By far the best song Smash has done. So that is it for my review. And again, down below in the link, I will put the descriptions. I will put the promo and the scene that was released. Both you can get on nbc.com/smash, but I will put the link in YouTube. So that's it for my review of Season 2, Episode 5 of Smash, the read-through. Great episode. So Smash is still great, and I'm glad to see that the ratings are going up each week. Last week the ratings went up, and this week they really went up. If we can get it to 1 point something, then I'll really appreciate that. Still 0 point something, but it's going up, and if it goes up as much as it does, if it increases, we might get a third season, which I really hope. If we don't get a third season, I hope they close it right, but that's a whole different subject altogether. That's it for my review of Smash. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys next time. Also, Music Tuesday this week is Music Friday. I have a very busy week going on because I am in a play for school. Don't know if I'll put it on YouTube or not. I probably won't because I could get in big trouble. But I'm in the school play, and we've had rehearsals 3:30 to 5:30 every day. So yesterday was very chaotic. That's why I didn't see Music Tuesday, and that's why this is so late, because Normally, I would have only had Tuesdays and Thursdays, but this week I have Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then next week is going to be even more chaotic. But hopefully, it'll work next week. So that's it for my review. See you guys next time. Bye!